Hello, everybody. Today we have in our studio, we are honored to have our very famous guest again in our studio, our very own Shalin Maria Lawrence. So we are getting into the topic straight away. We're diving into the topic straight away because I've been talking to her about this for quite some time, and she's found time to come today. And I would like to straight away fire her with questions, and she's going to. We all know how firebrand she is and how she's going to go about it, so I don't have to elaborate about it. So let's get into the topic. The topic is about one of the biggest Dalit icons of this country, Satyavani Muthu. The lady was so, uh, you know, enchanting, I should say, and the way she went about, I'm not able to fathom how she was able to do all that she did at that age. We all know how it was, how the situation was. In that age, she was so, uh, she brainstormed, she came out with a lot of innovative ideas and strategies, and constantly she was working for the betterment of our community. And something that you can't imagine somebody doing it now, the kind of uh, digital infrastructure that we have. But with nothing of that sort, she was able to do this. So why don't you enlighten us about it?
See, generally we speak about, when we say kingmaker, Tamil Nadu, we usually speak about Kamaraja, right? So, but there was a woman who was a kingmaker, and that woman was Satyavani Muthu. So this name is very rare among the Dalit groups itself, right? They speak about MC Raja or they speak about Sivaraj.
They rarely speak about MC Raja or
Yeah,
Sivaraj
even
also.
I think only over the last 5 years we've been speaking about, Dalit icons of Tamil Nadu. Other than that, the whole Dravidian politics have tried to erase Dalitality from from the political discourse of Tamil Nadu. But Dalit politics was not exclusive politics; it was most inclusive politics. They started everything, right, from civil rights, right? Tata Rettamala Srinivasan in 1927, he was the one who passed the resolution at the Madras Legislative Council for entry into public places. So there is a government order which is still in place. It says anybody can access public wells, anybody can go to public streets, anybody can access temples, everything, and that was brought by Tata Rettamala Srinivasan. Now people say, oh, Periyar only did it, but actually, Rettamala Srinivasan has done it. So what is done? Data is there. Data has never been hidden. Data is there. The British have archived it. A lot of activists and scholars have archived it. But the only problem is that the Dravidian politics have actually erased it, right? So one such name or one such important figure who has been erased, who they tried to erase from the Dravidian politics or the Tamil Nadu's politics, is Satyavani Muthu. So that woman, I think only 3 words describe her. Like, she was brave, and then she was resilient, and then she was, that she was the first voice of dissent in DMK. People, when they think there was a dissent in DMK, they always think about MGR, right? But she was the first voice of dissent even before MGR.
And even when Annadurai himself was alive.
Yeah, even Annadurai was there. So I keep on talking about this politics of how Satyavani Muthu mattered for DMK because she was one of the founders of DMK. See, when they say, oh, Anna came out from DK, like Dravida Kazhagam, because that is also a funny thing. Anna didn't come out of Dravida Kazhagam because they had a ideological fallout. He came out because Periyar married. Yeah, he married. And like how low you can be that you just left a party because that that movement's leader married someone. It's funny, like how DMK tries to call itself a very reformative, very progressive, but they're not progressive at all. They used to call Maniamai names.
Yeah, I know.
They called Periyar names, and today they are hailing Periyar and Maniamai.
In fact, I would always say that the communists who were actually pitched against Ivera,
yeah,
and even Rajaji, who was pitched against Ivera ideologically, if not personally, but ideologically, even they did not get personal.
Yeah, nobody got personal. The only personal hit EVR ever got was from Karnanidhi, Anna, Sampath, that gang, the whole gang. And that Periyar had a lot of money, and then Periyar married, and they couldn't take it. End of the day, money was the center, and then they made use of his personal life to defame him. How Murasali wrote about Periyar in the first place. I really don't know with what face they're actually talking about Periyar, and they're calling themselves Periyar's party
I know.
when they have defamed Periyar.
Up
in a
until,
very-
I mean, up until 67,
Yeah,
till they came to power,
yeah,
they were defaming him left, right, and center.
yeah. And that too, personal assassination.
Yes.
Right? And then why I'm talking about Periyar is Satyavani Muthu was part of DK. She belonged to Periyar. She was a follower of Periyar. Now, how that matters is a lot of the Dalits, a lot of scheduled caste people in the Chennai slums, they were predominantly Congress supporters. They supported Congress a lot, right? They also have representation in ML, in
I
the
understand.
council and things like that. So there was a shift. Now DMK comes into fore, and DMK wants those votes. So who was very instrumental in bringing those votes to DMK was Satyavani Muthu, because she, a Dalit, belonged to the same place. She belonged to North Madras, right? So what she's done, she was a staunch Buddhist also.
Okay.
Satyavani was a Buddhist. See, even until now, Thirumavalavan has not converted to
I
Buddhism.
understand.
But Satyavani was an Ambedkarite, right? And she also converted to Buddhism. And she was a very strong lady who actually went to every, she was the backbone of the self-respect movement of Periyar in the North Madras and across in the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. I remember Durai Murugan once said in an interview that Durai Murugan had called Satyavani Muthu to his place, and then it was a 1-year belt. And Satyavani Muthu came and stayed at their home, because Satyavani Muthu was a very big, personality in DMK. And once Satyavani Muthu left, all the Dalit people from the colonies came and said, we also will come into your house. Right? So Durai Murugan's father was upset, like, because of you, because of this woman, only these people are also wanting to come there. So that is the amount of change that she could do because of the political power she had. See, today people are Thirumavalavan is constantly talking about political power. Yes, political power is very
I
important,
understand.
without which you cannot move a simple thing. A pen also you cannot move, right? But with that political power, what she was able to do in 1940s, 50s, 60s is something which is unfathomable. Nobody else did it. She harnessed the votes of all these people. She moved these people from Congress to Dravidian Kadagam in the first place, made them follow Periyar. It was not Periyar is coming from Erode. Who will follow Periyar?
Correct.
Right? So Chennai people's life was different. Their politics was different. For example, Periyar's politics was not in alignment to them, because these people were working class Dalits who had a liberal life. Right? They had a very liberal life. Remarriage was taking place easily. All the women were working. The women were emancipated, educated. None of them were pushed into sati or anything like that. Women had property rights. Everything was available to the Dalit community. So they did not need Periyar, because if I'm going to talk about Periyar, the only thing I will say is Periyar worked for OBC rights, or Periyar worked for
Absolutely.
women's rights, right? They never needed anything, because they were Dalits and their women and their families were already emancipated. So they never got, our women never got enslaved. Periyar spoke about enslavement of
I
women.
understand.
That relates to forward caste or OBC women, not for Dalits. So we never needed Periyar. But she made sure that she built a bridge between these Dalit people and Periyar through something called self-respect movement. She went to each and every slum. She conducted self-respect marriage. My family, one of my great aunts, she was actually she worked under the MGR government for educational policies. She traveled to the East Asian countries. She was friends with Satyavani Muthu, because Satyavani Muthu worked with educators. She worked with reformists within the Dalit community, right? And then what happened was she brought these people to become the followers of Periyar, who actually came nearer to the slums, where EVK Periyar, EV Periyar, that Periyar Dindal and everything. And then Satyavani Muthu was not even treated equal there, right? Periyar could have made her the next in line, right? Periyar didn't do that.
He belonged for Veeramani.
Right. See, even now I'm saying, Periyar adopted Sampath, his own caste. I'm still putting this question again. The second time I'm putting this in an English interview. Periyar, if he loved Reformation so much, if he loved social justice so much, why he did not, go ahead and adopt a woman as his heir or next in line, especially a Dalit woman? Why you have to give it to a backward class, man? That is the question, right? So he could have even chosen Satyavani Muthu. He didn't do.
No, but even if you look at EVR's entire journey, I've never seen him talk about Dalit rights.
No, he never spoke about Dalit rights.
In fact, Murashali comes out with all kinds of criticism, saying that he questioned how can a Dalit woman wear a blouse. Because of that, the garment prices have shot up.
Yeah.
This is what...
I'll tell you one incident what happened. So this Velur Narayana Reddy. Dindivanam, his name is Dindivanam Velur Narayana Reddy. He was the mayor, DMK mayor of Chennai. Okay, Reddys, you know what is the connection, how DMK made these people mayors?
Yeah, Ongole connection.
Yeah, so whatever connection they have. That is Manavadu connection they have. So what happened was Reddy was made the mayor and Reddy's son was actually Reddy's, I think son or daughter was in love with the offspring of Satyavani Muthu. So Reddy made very lucid comments on her. He made very lewd comments about her in the MLC when he was speaking at the municipality GCC. He made very lewd comments about her. He made comments about her clothing, dress. He made comments about her life. He character assassinated her and also dehumanized her. He spoke in a very bad manner. This happened in 1968. When DMK, I think 1 year after DMK coming to power, this is how he spoke about a minister in DMK. Satyavani Muthu was a minister in DMK.
I understand.
Right? She was a Adravada minister and she was one of the founding members of DMK. Right? So he is making fun of her. But Periyar went ahead and Periyar defended Narayana Reddy. Periyar said, Narayana Reddy would have not said this. But he never verified the fact or never stood by Satyavani Muthu, who was his true follower. She was betrayed. See, she was a symbol of resistance, she was a symbol of dissent, resilience, all that I told you. But she was also a symbol of greatest betrayal.
This is where I always find that when it comes to the Dalit cause or Dalit personalities, they're always seen a tad lower. Whenever it comes to any issue.
Any issue.
Even today, I find that happening. That when it is a Dalit, then that issue goes for a different kind of an approach. Even let it be among the DMK or any other party for that matter. I think this is a pattern that you will find. That if it's see, for example, let us look at the Thirumavalavan issue incident that happened recently in the High Court. Now, I am not going to justify what the VCK goons did in the road in front of the High Court, where they went and they physically assaulted. But let us look at the core issue. The core issue is about the SPG protection that can be given to Thirumavalavan. Now, does he deserve it? Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Has there been any call from any of the mainstream parties to say that yes, he needs that protection? Why DMK, which is sitting in power, why is it not demanding that?
The whole thing is DMK kept quiet during this High Court issue.
Exactly.
For example, Thirumavalavan defends DMK to tooth and nail, right? He'll go to any extent to defend DMK, anything. But Thirumavalavan says, keeps an allegation that his life is in threat and something like this happened. And they never stood by Thirumavalavan. They were just, observing, or they were just,
Let's not confuse issues here by getting into what happened with the VCK fellows and that chap.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the core issue, which is that Thirumavalavan needs to be given that protection.
He needs all Dalit leaders. Even Armstrong should have given. Otherwise, Armstrong would have not died.
Murdered. Now, my question is very simple. Why isn't a Dalit leader given that particular protection? We have a person who's not even a leader now, who's an ex-leader, who state president, who was a state president, who's not a state president now, but he's enjoying the Z protection. Annamalai. Now, this is Udayanidhi,
Mm.
who happens to be
Mm.
Chief Minister's son
Mm.
and the Deputy Chief Minister, he is having equal protection. Why is it that a man who's worked for the downtrodden, who is one of the primary faces of the Dalit community today, why is he not given that protection? What is the problem in extending that protection to him?
See, it's very simple. For DMK, Dalit lives doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter. We form around 28% of the voting, population of Tamil Nadu. They need our votes, but they think we are very cheap. It's easy to get our votes because of people like Tiruvallur. But end of the day, Tiruvallur will not get the security from the state government.
Or the
This is an
respect.
irony. Yeah.
Or the respect. Now, just imagine the day before yesterday.
They went to Kamal Hassan's home.
birthday.
Will Stalin or Durga or Sabreesan, will they go to Tirumala's home in Ariyalur? Will they do that? No.
They won't.
It's this is a kind of disparity. This is a kind of discrimination that you can see
And this
being done
dates
to
back.
them.
This dates back to Satyavani Muthu's time.
Yeah,
This is where I'm saying that
Yeah.
let's now go back to
yeah, but
Muthu.
Satyavani Muthu is not even Tirumala. Satyavani Muthu was powerful. She was powerful like Kamaraj, right?
She went to Delhi.
She went to
spoke,
Delhi.
Spoke in the conference in 1968.
Yeah, and she was the first union minister who was a Dalit woman.
Absolutely.
A first union minister was a Dalit woman. And that was possible because of MGR.
MGR.
Nobody can take the credit, right? Then people will ask, she was in DMK. How she went to DMK? Again, we have to continue. They had a fallout. She was with Anna. Anna was her Anna, her brother. Yeah, she was a very true fan of Anna.
They used to go and eat in her house. She used to feed them.
Yeah, she had money, right? So Anna actually, when Anna came out of DMK, again from DK, they wanted votes, right? So now the same woman, Satyavani Muthu, who shifted the base from Congress to DK, again shifted the base of Dalit people from DK to DMK.
And in fact, the first victory
Yeah.
of DMK was in
Yeah.
Chennai.
And you know what? Now they call Timuka as Moiliyar Party. Before that, you know what Timuka was called? It was called Harijana Party. That was the name it was called. Because the Parayas are the ones who built a DMK.
In fact, there was one gentleman.
Mm.
I don't know his name. Maybe you will be able to identify him. He was speaking in that the Thume Paniyalar, that particular protest that was happening here, sanitary workers protest that was happening here. He said, "We have given you the identity.
Yeah.
We have given the identity to DMK. It's because of us. We went and voted, and that's where you got the recognition."
Seku Thamizhasan.
Yeah.
He was the one who told, because he knows the history, right? Seku Thamizhasan knows the history. So we made DMK. We built DMK. We gave the lands to DMK. DK. No, that is part of our land. If you go ahead and search for Panchami lands, who knows Arivalayam and Dravidar Kadagam might fall under
Murasali
that.
office.
Yeah, Murasali office.
Often
Yeah.
that Ramadas openly challenged and said, "Show
Yeah.
us the parent document."
Yeah.
Till today, they have not shown the parent document.
No, there's no because
the parent document is Panchami land.
Panchami land. This 11,000 acres, 11 lakh acres of Panchami land, depressed class land. Now you just measure it, 11 lakh acres. How much of area it would have covered from Chennai to Chengalpat and, the northern districts. So much of land. Where it went? Your party offices. It's an allegation, but tomorrow it will be proved in the court of law, right? That we were nearing it. Now, end of the day, she got the votes for DMK. She founded DMK along with Anna. And then what happened was she also made DMK victorious. And if you can see, she was one of the, foremost speakers, Kolke Parapaselalar of DMK, along with MGR and SSR and everyone. And she had the opportunity to become the chief minister. But these people were patriarchal enough that they will not appoint a woman, that to a Dalit woman even they spoke about reformation and progressiveness and all, it's all pseudo fake. They would have never made her CM. But she had the capacity to decide who will be the next chief minister. She goes and talks to MGR. She says, you know what? She writes in a book, she says, Karunanidhi's come from an oppressed community. Today, Karunanidhi's family behaves like they are coming from some Anda Jadi or dominant caste. But they belong to an oppressed caste which later moved on to BC, backward classes, right? Right now they think they're very superior. But we didn't know that they were oppressed at certain point of time. They were doing hereditary jobs. So she goes and says, you know what, to Ramachandran, MGR, she says, you know, Ramachandra, let Karunanidhi become the CM. He's coming from that community. Not because of his work or whatever. She sees that this person has some potential to get the party organized.
I understand.
And then MGR talks to SSR. There's a lot of fight which happens. There's a power. And MGR and Satyavani Muthu are the reason that Karunanidhi was even chosen as a chief minister
Not
after
ma-
Anna.
Not many people know.
Mm.
Because they're all talking about this Kuvatur, they keep parroting about it. There was a government resort at that point of time in Mahabalipuram.
Mahabalipuram.
And all the MLAs were hoarded there. They were there. All kinds of activities were happening there.
Though-
Today, at least we have all the scrutiny. We have the public mobiles and cameras. Everybody is a mobile journalist. Everybody is there. Those days it was not so.
See, there's also a story behind how ECR road was laid. Just for this family.
Okay.
Right?
We need to know
ECR,
it.
yeah. The whole, before Kuvatur, there was a very nasty politics which happened in the 1960s in the same ECR. So what ADMK did was they just tried to replicate it, but not to the full extent, right? To the nastiest extent what DMK could do, those people can say. Veerappan can say, Tirunavukara can say, a lot of people can say. Not Tirunavukara, but people before them. Nedunjadiyan or things like that. Madhiyadagan. So what happened was, Anbadagan could have been CM. Nedunjadiyan could have been CM, right?
Ideally, should have been Nedunjadiyan.
Yeah. Ideally Nedunjadiyan. He was the one who's supposed to be, he was the foremost leader, right? We also know how he got erased because of Karunanidhi.
Madhiyadagan was expecting that he's going to be nominated.
Yeah. And then, you know, Sampath also thought, right? Sampath thought he'll be there. Sampath also worked. Sampath was a great intellectual, actually, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But nobody speaks about Sampath's, you know, intellectuality in the first place.
I was like, when I was in Satyamurthy Bhavan,
Mm.
I happened to, because when EVK Zilangon was the TNCC president, I happened to listen to his speech. Wonderful orator.
Yeah. Sampath was really atheist. Sampath was really anti-caste. Sampath was really good. But at the end of the day, I don't know what happened with his life at all. You know, we knew the amount of power hungry, you know, Karunanidhi was very power hungry. So the drama he played, right? So he manipulated people. So this, you know, she thought, okay, Karunanidhi is coming from this community. Let him make him CM. He'll be very, you know, loyal to the party. That's what she thought. And that's why I called her kingmaker. Today, DMK is saying, oh, we gave you food, we made you CM. R.S. Bharati talks about, we made you
Even the
judges. Right? It's our pichai or it's our bhiksha. But actually, if not for, you know, Satyavani Muthu, DMK's family would, without any talent, Stalin
Absolutely.
and Udayanidhi would not even have a proper job. Right? But because of her, only the family is surviving. But until last year, they never even recognized her. We all, Dalit activists, have to speak about her. Only then they came up with a program on her name last year. Because they felt very ashamed because they never spoke about this woman. Why? Because that woman stirred the pot in such a way, that lot of Dalits parted from DMK and they moved on to ADMK and other parties.
Yes.
She was the reason for it.
Absolutely.
Right? Even she didn't know that she was doing it. But she did it. Right? So she took a lot of people to AIADMK. But AIADMK is loyal to Dalits. Until now, even I have never voted for AIADMK. I feel bad about it. As a Dalit, they have done more to Dalit rights than DMK. Right? Because they have never spoken about, you know, what they have done.
They have not been vociferous.
For example, not even a single MP from, you know, a nominated MP from DMK has been a Paraya woman or a Dalit woman. But ADMK has selected 2 people who are from the Dalit community, and also woman has been selected 2 times. How is that even possible? ADMK was able to do it.
Absolutely.
Right? As I said, even my mother-in-law, who was a tea leaf picker, became, you know, chairman of a municipality, you know, because of AIADMK. She might be in a different party right now. But we know the truth behind, you know, how people got representation through ADMK. And that's why when she was a minister, she was made a minister in DMK's cabinet, 1968. When there was Kirvenmani massacre itself, she started speaking out. Because she thought DMK is a party which we Dalits built. DMK, Karnanidhi is someone I made him a king because of, CM, because of me. She had that confidence. She went everywhere as a woman. She traveled alone. She got votes for DMK across Ariyalur, Perambulur, Chengalpattu, all the north districts. Wherever 1 year belt also was there. She went ahead and she fought for Dalits to join DMK and vote for them. But what did you do to her? You know what she did? The mistake what she did good to Dalits. And DMK did not like it.
I remember reading an article where it is said that she wanted to start a college in the name of Ambedkar, a law college. They chided her and they told her that you raise half the money, then we will see. She raised half the money and still they just did not help her do it. And they insulted her. This is what I...
See, as an Ambedkarite, she wanted to start a arts college in Vyasarpadi, North Madras. See, a lot of children had to go to Pachaya Pass, and Pachaya Pass has a lot of caste problem. There was a certain point of time until I think 1940s or 50s, Pachaya Pass did not allow SC students to enroll.
Okay.
Shivaraj was the one who filed a case in the court. Shivaraj was the one who filed a case in the court to admit Dalit students in the college.
Okay.
And today DMK is boasting of Pachaya Pass College. Anna studied here, everybody studied here. It was called a OBC college. They never allowed Dalits. And as soon as Dalits joined Pachaya Pass only, they started this blame game saying Pachaya Pass College is a rowdy college.
Okay.
You got the thing. But that's the reason she wanted one of the colleges to be in North Madras, because they couldn't travel so much. The children had to study in North Madras. All your voters of DMK, they needed a college there. She said she went to, she followed the protocol. She never, she never misused the power in her hands. She went to Karnanidhi, she followed the protocol. She said, oh my God, you're my CM. I need a college there for my people. And he said, I don't care. If you can get some money, go get it. We'll build it. You know what she did? She did it as a campaign with her sari. She wears a sari. She went and took money like this from people. And then she gave the money to Karnanidhi. Then she only looked after the whole building of the college and everything. Karnanidhi easily came and opened the college.
And now he gets the credit.
Now he gets the credit saying, I was the one who opened it. But it was Satyavani Muthu.
Every, sort of scheme that these people claim to be theirs, it was all initiated by her.
It was all about, for example, that Oru Rubai Ki Oru Padi Arisi was her brainchild. She writes it. Okay. See, there's a lot of appropriation done by Karnanidhi, which was other people's ideas. For example, Kai Rickshaw Odippu was her brainchild.
Yeah, the hand rickshaws were all...
Yeah, because she lived in North Madras. She lived among the rickshaw pullers. Karnanidhi came from Thiruvarur. There aren't much Kai rickshaws in Thiruvarur or Delta area or anywhere. She was the one who worked among these people who were rickshaw pullers. So she promised them, once we come to power, we will try to get this out and we'll pull this tricycle rickshaw. It was her brainchild. But who takes the credit? Karnanidhi took the credit. Kai rickshaw vai odittar. It was MGR. You know why MGR was given the National Award for Rickshaw Karan? Because there is it was thought as a menial job.
Okay.
Right? It was thought as a menial job. But MGR made it look respectful. MGR wore very nice, clean clothes.
I know.
And he made the rickshaw tricycle thing so popular, so stylish, that even people saw rickshaw cars as very attractive, nice. People.
It immediately, emancipates.
Change the perspective to change from menial to something which is respected.
Dignified.
And that transition was done by MGR on the screen, right? And that is the reason none of them, I think nobody acted as a rickshaw puller in such a way. I think Babu, Shivaji would have acted, but that doesn't carry that much of, value. But MGR in the full, movie, its name itself was Rickshaw Karan. Right? So that's the reason even now, in spite of there's a lot of, misdoings of MGR on certain levels, on the fishermen and everybody. I was talking to one Dalit director. So that Dalit director asked me, Shalan, why they still love MGR irrespective of, in spite of what he's done. I said, I don't know, maybe he's of his, glamour and charisma. I said, no. Dalit people or North Madras people think MGR has minimum human, humane nature. He has got minimum conscience than Karunanidhi. That's why they still love him and adore him, right? So the whole rickshaw, from the Kai rickshaw, from the hand-driven rickshaw to the tricycle, was the brainchild of Satyavani Muthu, who belonged to that community, who dined with those people, who was friends with those people, relatives with those people, and then MGR campaigned for it, and that's how it became a law. Now, who again gets the name for it? Karunanidhi, right? And then there's another thing which happened.
Misappropriation
That they do
is
full time.
their forte. I mean, to the
Yeah.
extent that anything, right from the party that they have
Yeah,
today, is all misappropriated.
Yeah, they'll appropriate anything. And the other very important thing was, I think that is the time, during the 70s, early 70s, that the government brought the SC/ST sub-plan, that special component plan from Dalits. According to the population, they give a certain amount to the states. So state has to spend only for Dalit schemes, right? Even now we are having problems with it.
I understand.
Satyavani Muthu is Dravidar minister. So she gets that 49 lakhs at that time. She is the one supposed to use that 49 lakhs. She used it for Dalit things, to get the rickshaws, to do a lot of stuff, for Dalit issues, to build hostels, Dalit hostels. She used the money. They got pissed off. DMK got pissed off. They're like, the Pombala, this woman is spending this money on Dalits. Who will she spend the money? That is sub-plan money. She has to spend on
That
Dalits.
money is allocated for
Dalits.
Now just imagine, let's circa 2025, we are in 2025. Imagine the money allocated for Dalits is not being spent and is sent back
Yeah.
by the Chief Minister Stalin.
This is the pattern which they created, because they could not digest the fact that Dalits are getting money. And that's the reason they, the 1,000 rupees per month scheme, Pudme Pindittama, what is that scheme? Magalir Dittam.
Yes, the women emancipation.
Yeah, that
project.
1,000 rupees, 700 crores is taken from SC/ST sub-plan. It is not supposed to go like that. The case has been contested in the court. Even now, they don't want to spend the money. Imagine that day, how much of bashing she would have got just because she was spending Dalit money on Dalits.
Which is what she was being made a minister for.
Yeah, she was made a minister for. And then what they did was they started using slurs on her, caste slurs. And that's the time she realized, like how I found out at one point of time, like I was a DMK supporter, but when I spoke about Dalits' rights, they started calling me a para-dash, para-punna, all those sort of, things. That's when I realized, oh, I am a Dalit. That is my last identity, right? So she also realized,
that's your only identity.
First and foremost, an intersectional identity. And then Satyavani Muthu also realized this betrayal. She realized, oh my God, I fought so much for this party. I brought people to this party. I worked so much for this party. But this is what they're doing. The final straw was when she, when they were calling her names, Arya Sankaran, Republic Party of India leader in Tamil Nadu, who was a North Madras. They used to call him rowdy, but he was not a rowdy. He was a highly educated Republic Party leader of Tamil Nadu, and this person was so agitated that DMK was treating her so bad that he actually, went ahead and staged a very big protest in Madras that time in support of her. Like, how can you even call my woman like that, using caste slurs?
I understand.
And she cried, and she was strong. She cried. Even I cried. Sometimes I get the strength from these kind of my people, women who were there before me, right? She cried, but she came back to work. She didn't leave at that point also. What happened was, there was this male vasectomy family planning thing was going on, full-fledged. And then she was like...
They were implementing it.
These
are the people who were saying that they opposed emergency. Actually, you will be surprised. Karunanidhi welcomed
he did.
The 10-point program, which was a 20-point program, but then it was initially a 10-point program of Sanjay Gandhi. He welcomed it.
Yeah.
And it was implemented.
Yeah. And like Sanjay Gandhi, how Sanjay Gandhi went and did this,
slums of Delhi.
Vasectomies to the slum people, the Muslims, the Pasmanda Muslims. Likewise, she noticed that, only Dalits have been given this in Chennai, all the slums. They went to the slums and they're doing this vasectomies to Dalit men. And the number was very high. So she notices there is a pattern and they're trying to do, they're trying to limit the population. They're playing the game. They're playing the number game. She found that out. She was intelligent, So she found out that they were playing the number games. So what she does is in Perambur meeting, she talks about it. They say these people are, taking us for granted and they're trying to commit a genocide on us, a passive genocide by committing this family planning campaign where only pariah men are being taken for these camps like street dogs. And this is not happening. The day she spoke about that, I think next day or something only, the water connection to a house was cut.
Yeah.
The telephone connection to a house was cut. She was a minister.
Telephone connection was
Everything, water connection was cut.
to a minister.
To a minister of his own government. How horrible to be a Dalit woman and to go through that. And that to someone who's given her life for the party. These are the Dalit leaders who wanted political power to do good for the people, but the way they were treated. Tirunavalavan has to see this.
He has to renounce.
This will happen to him as soon as he leaves DMK or as soon as he questions. But she was not worried. She was not a coward like our Dalit men. Our Dalit men political leaders are cowards. Most of them are cowards.
You're using very strong words.
They're cowards. But she was not. She was not a coward. You know what she did? She said, I'm going to talk about this issue. And then what happened? She left the party. She was fired. She left the party.
She started her own party.
She started her own party. And then she merged that with
ADMK.
ADMK because MGR was inviting. She had her ethics. She was like, I'm not going to go to MGR's party. I'll be here for some time. But then MGR said, no, there's not time for all those things. You come to me. As soon as she went, she was made MP and she was made Union Minister.
Satyamani Muthu and Bala Parnu. Both of
Yeah,
them made
who
union
would
ministers.
do that thing? I'm someone who will not fall at the feet of people.
And
But if I've seen MGR at that time, I would have hugged him and fallen on his feet and said, sir, you're super duper.
and the biggest revolution at that point of time
Yeah.
was that no regional party had a say in the government. They used to support from outside. The first time a regional party got a place in the ministry.
Yeah.
And Satyamani Muthu went on record to be the first woman Dalit leader.
Under Charan Singh. Yeah.
To be made a
Yeah,
union minister and the first from a regional party.
And that too, first woman who doesn't belong to any political party. She's not a political hair. And she did it. And MGR gave the chance. MGR would have given the chance to anybody, Even he was trying to get vote bank. He was doing vote bank politics. He was appeasing OBC parties. But MGR appeased Dalits too, right?
Absolutely.
But why DMK is not able to do it?
Because you see, the mindset of the DMK, as much as I see it, is that it has that particular, the non-Brahmin movement, as I see it, I've always maintained, the non-Brahmin movement was only to get themselves, that these the people like the Panagal Arasar or the other Mirasdars, Zamindars, these people wanted to plant themselves in the place where the Brahmins were. So their focus was only towards that. The non-Brahmin movement, if you are really going to claim the non-Brahmin movement was against oppression, then the most oppressed should have got the priority. That is not there. I think that was the issue with MC Raja too, when he questioned and said, you are claiming that you are for the oppressed. Then the most oppressed should have got the priority.
But he gave it to the forward caste, the feudal caste.
The Zamindars came and belonged to themselves. So the landlords.
See, Justice Party was a Zamindar party.
Absolutely.
It was a feudal party. It stood for all the ideals it spoke against for. Whatever ideals they fought against for, it actually stood for that only. It stood for Panyarism, Zamindarism. It stood for feudal caste.
Feudalism, yes.
Right? They never even gave reservation for Dalits. The percentage was very less. Depressed class reservation was got even before that. Ambedkar got us first. I don't think these people even know that. They think, Udayanidhi's fathers or grandfather gave it to us. No. Even Udayanidhi has no idea. So, what Satyamani Muthu was, she was an intellectual. She was a grassroots worker. She was a political lobbyist. She did everything for DMK. But she was only rewarded by AIADMK. Because MGR knew what she was capable of.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that too didn't live up to a certain level because of her health issue, family problems, all those things. But that woman died a very sad death. She cried. She wrote in a biography, like in Poratam, she wrote everything about how she was mistreated by this man, especially, Karnanidhi. And he said, I will never forgive him in my life. So I think all Dalit leaders or women should look up to Satyamani Muthu because her birth anniversary is coming this week. So we all should look up to her and we should, get that fighting spirit from her.
Absolutely.
Maybe sometimes
She's an inspiration.
she's sure inspiration.
See,
because-
imagine being somebody, I mean, one of the tallest Dalit leaders from South India. We are celebrating Savitri Phule, which we rightly should.
Yeah.
But just imagine, she was a taller leader
Yeah.
for her time.
Yeah, when you said DMK, she should have been the name coming first to you after Anna. Anna, Satyamani Muthu, Sampath, Sadiq Basha, the things would have been the Nigerian, should have been that is the thing. But they erased her. Why? Because she was a Dalit.
Absolutely.
So they don't want to connect a Dalit with the foundation of DMK.
And a person who's delivering them
Yeah, everything. It is like, Bharati Raja's The Den with Thodan. It depicts so clearly about how these people make use of the work of the urban, Dalits for their political gain and how they treat them after that. Use and throw. But she fought. So for someone like me who's, foraging into politics right now, I just learn a lot from her. Like how to
but
fight.
history repeats itself. See, these sanitary workers, they were saying, their main refrain, what it was? It was that we voted you.
We voted you. We know that. The best part of the sanitary worker
And
protest.
when you are irritating us, you don't even want to meet us.
These
You're
sanitary
taking
women,
the other route.
Kishore, trust me, these sanitary worker, conservancy workers, they have no more political knowledge than anybody in DMK's first family. They know the history so well. Every time I used to go and sit there in the protest, I would say, Namma kurta vaalkai. We gave them this life. Right? Out of what? Out of my noble nature. It's not because I was desperate to have someone
I'm
else.
benevolent.
Congress was treating me well. I was not desperate. You wanted a change of power, but I helped you. It was Dalits aiding OBCs to overthrow Congress. For OBC's help, not for my help.
I understand.
Congress has done a lot of good things for Dalits in those times. Even now, Congress has a reservation system with its working committee, right? Does DMK has a reservation system with
Absolutely
it?
not.
it
The
doesn't
only
have.
reservation that they have is for the family who goes to Delhi,
Yeah.
who sits in Thuthukudi, and who takes care of Central Madras.
Yeah.
This kind of a reservation within their family.
Yeah. Congress brought the SC/ST PO Act, right? They have Ilaya Perumal belonged to Congress. He was the reason behind SC/ST PO Act of 1989.
Why? You can look at the PCR Act.
Yeah.
BJP brought in that amendment.
2015.
They brought in that amendment where they even brought in that particular clause. Of course, this is debatable, but then still they
Yeah,
brought
but
in that
Paswan
clause.
was behind it. Paswan was behind it. This is what I'm very much worried about DMK is like they propagate something, but they are a total different entity altogether. Right? So when I look at when people come to politics, especially women, I want them to be Satyamani Muthu in such a way that you be resilient, you dissent within your own party. So many Dalit women in VCK don't have a voice. VCK, there's a lot of Dalit women. They form the backbone of VCK. But any one of them got, a single seat in that 6 seats?
Absolutely not.
How come? That is the
tokenism.
See,
they will tell you, we have Spectrum Raja. We have put him.
I'll give you one interesting example. Dalit Elumalai was a central minister, and that was because of Pamaka. And then also, Jayalalitha made him stand in one of the Podu Togudis in Trichy. General constituency. A Dalit man standing in general constituency. Has DMK given any seat for any Dalit person in a general constituency? Never in history. Never in history. Dalit Elumalai's daughter is in VCK, El Kaloran. She would have got a seat last time, right? 6 seats were given. But who is Alur Shahnawaz? Who's SS Balaji? They are getting seats. But people who were from the belong to VCK from the formation of the party, they did not get a seat. A Dalit woman. Who else could have got that seat better than her?
I understand.
right? You had so much of winning probability. She would have got it. They didn't give. A lot of women who work for the party are not rewarded back. They're not given the main seats to sit. You get the point. They're not, even Dalit men look down upon Dalit women when they are very politically
sad.
active. It's a sad reality. And that's why Dalit women in other parties like DMK, OBC parties like this, they don't have any voice at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't see them also.
We don't see them. They're invisible. They're on the ground working, doing all the dirtiest jobs for DMK, from waking up the voters to vote to booth level activities. They are doing grassroots work so much, and they don't get anything, in return. You had Subbulakshmi Jagadishan, right? She was not Dalit. You have Kanimozhi, who's a direct offspring of Karunanidhi. There are no other Dalit leaders. And you think about Satyavani Muthu, a powerful Dalit leader. Who's there in DMK? So many years. Not even a single woman could
You are not
replace
able
her.
to create a Dalit leader.
Yeah. The one woman who was strong enough, you pushed her out.
You insulted her.
You insulted her.
You abused
Now,
her.
because she would have been a better role model to a lot of women inside the party.
Absolutely.
For example, if she was sustained herself there, I think there's a chance that the first party, Karunanidhi's family would have been replaced by another family.
I understand.
It would have been more democratic, but didn't happen. So obviously, these women also in other parties, they don't have a voice. Not just Dalit women. No woman has a voice in DMK. Not even Kanimozhi.
We know how Kanimozhi is being treated.
Scapegoat. Nothing else. So Dalits don't have.
I had a fundamental question, which was, why was Udayinidhi made the hair? Why not Senthamari?
Yeah. Why it's so patriarchal? They'll come out and say, they'll give an example like, my women are not interested in politics. And we know it's an excuse.
Then
So you
why
couldn't
is Durga
influence your
poking
own
her
women.
nose in, then why is Durga poking her nose in everything? She is the kitchen cabinet. She is poking her nose. Now you would see that Lakshmi Subramanian, the Week magazine, she's a chamcha of the family. She comes out with a photo where Durga Stalin is pouring the sambar
to
for
those
Stalin. Why can't it be the other way around?
Why
Because
can't
you
she
speak
sit
about
and
woman
do
and-
that?
and
Why
yeah.
can't she sit and do that in the first
Why
place?
should she be standing and doing
Even
that?
even for outwardly picture also, DMK is very patriarchal. They want to show that men rule the world, men rule Tamil Nadu. They don't want to put women there.
I have
The
seen
next
even
in line could have been Kanimozhi. No, Kanimozhi is a politician. She's
not?
seen the hard life.
I have seen Karunanidhi's interviews where they used to go and take interview with one of his wives, this Dayalu Amma. She used to say, I like making fish curry for him.
Everybody talks about that only. That's why in my book
Why
also I've
can't
written. In my book I've written that all these talevars would make their women sit and talk about, oh, my husband likes idli, my husband likes kali kodambu, meen kodambu. You see all those Kumudam articles that time, no? They'll only talk about Rajati Amma, or Dayalu Amma will talk about what Karunanidhi eats and all. If you can't even bring equality within your own home, what kind of equality you are, trying to establish in the society?
So why is it that we don't have? Because are they having dearth of money?
See, I'm telling you something. If
Why can't she
DMK
come out with-
has reformed their own families, made it equal, then with a lot of discipline, when I'm saying discipline, that would have replicated in the whole party
The
itself.
only woman I found independent within that family is Kanti Alagiri. Seriously.
The other woman.
I've never seen her coming out and saying, I offer food to Alagiri.
No, she
She
has a
doesn't-
lot of
she doesn't-
personality. She has a lot of personality. Maybe that's why she's not being a part of that. And Karunanidhi only used to say, oh, we also married in a Dalit family.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like why the whole family was...
it is not some kind of medal that you're giving to the community by saying, we got married into that community, but you're doing in favor of it.
There, and you are saying UP Bihar. In UP Bihar, Akhilesh Yadav's wife is contesting, and she's a part of the political spectrum.
Absolutely.
Even if it's dynasty politics, they are making women there, no? Part of it.
Rabri
Where are
Devi-
your women? Where are your women? There's no, they choose a male hair and male hair from the same caste.
And the women are being shown as going to the temple. And then cooking in the kitchen.
So whereas we never crushed Brahmanism. You're only feeding Brahmin priestlyhood and Brahmanism. You have never even fought against it. You have not equally treated your women, right? And that's what I say, DMK is a patriarchal party. So when these university students across the country, BAPSA, or all these, people from US, Ambedkar, Periyar Study Circle, when they call DMK a social justice party, I'm like, are you nuts?
What social justice?
What social justice?
Are
They're
we talking
treating
about
their
here?
women worse.
I'm
They're treating
treating
the
them
women
very badly.
worse, very badly. And they're doing all very, tasks like, like maids. And end of the day, this is what is called social justice. Why there's not a single woman's voice, a rebellious voice from this, party? Even Kanimori is there to give excuses. Kanimori is not there to stand for some firm ideological
I
things.
find whatever interactions I've had with her, I found her to be a very independently, a person who's of independent thought process. But then, unfortunately, she's not able to break the shackles.
No, the ecosystem is so tightly bound. That's what I say. ADMK has every party has a patriarchal ecosystem, but ADMK broke it at some point, right?
And see, led by a woman leader.
Led by a woman leader, and then there are so many women leaders there. We have a Sayar Kudu Kutum, we have so
Absolutely.
many women sitting there. And Timuka Sayar Kudu Kutum, except for Kanimari, nobody is there.
Nobody sits there. And nobody's voice is heard.
Heard.
You have tokenism.
Mm.
Like you have some woman coming
Mm.
there and talking.
Mm.
Like, for example, I saw Tharoor,
Mm.
the MP, Congress MP, Jyotimani, when she voiced against Sendil Bala. The vitriol that she faced, the kind of trolling that she faced, it was all women centric.
Yeah. DMK is known for these women centric trolls and abuse. I am affected. Satyavani Muthu was affected. All the women, Indira Gandhi was affected. DMK is an anti-woman.
Jayalalitha was affected.
Yeah, Jayalalitha, everybody, even Kanimori during 2G. A lot of DMK men blamed Kanimori.
Absolutely.
And they made fun of a person's life. DMK men.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So a lot of things, the amount of support Udayanidhi gets, Kanimori doesn't get it.
Absolutely.
It's all male worship, the whole party has
look
been
at
like
the
that.
case itself. If you look at the case, who are the beneficiaries of that money? It were the men in the family. And who were accused? Dayalu Ammal was accused.
Yeah.
Kanimori was accused.
She went to jail. Did Stalin go to jail
No,
for
he
it?
didn't.
You think Stalin didn't have any part in that?
That Sadiq Bacha's letter says that he handed over the check to Stalin. Now, let us just look at it this way. If there is going to be a case, criminal case, it shouldn't happen. But if it is going to happen, and if a woman in my house is going to be involved, I think I would step forward and say, no, you will not have the woman and the lady in the house affected. I would go and I would take the responsibility. We saw that movie Alai Paide, where
Arvind Swami.
drives the vehicle and she meets with an accident. Of course, it shouldn't happen. The person who drives should take the responsibility. But then Arvind Swami steps forward and says, no, I will take the responsibility.
But
That's how
for things
it
what they
works.
do together, or where men were the face of whatever
Now,
wrong
just imagine the
happened.
Kalyani TV
Yeah,
programs.
yeah.
They're projecting all those shows, dance shows. Karnanidhi was enjoying those dance shows. Stalin was being
Karnanidhi
projected.
talking about Namita's glamour.
Yeah.
I shared that video last week. He was a chief minister at that time and he's talking about Namita's glamour. And then there was this Pasa Thalavanukku Parattu Vida. There are also young kids, under 18 kids, actresses. They're 16, 17 years old. They're dancing in front of that CM.
Yeah.
Today it have been a very big commotion. It have been very big politics. I'm telling you, if people like Satyavani Muthu was heading DMK or they were present in DMK, such things would have not happened.
No, absolutely. So it is pathetic. And I will tell you, Satyavani Muthu went, she was supporting Janaki faction. And she went all out against Jayalalitha. The kind of articles she came out with. The DMK fellows are, parading it. See what all Satyavani Muthu
said
spoke
about Jayalalitha.
That's all okay. But still, Jayalalitha respected her.
Ah.
Now, what you guys did to her, none of these fellows are ready to talk about it.
They're not ready to talk about it or discuss it. On even the media, it does not make Stalin sit and talk about these things. They never question about him. First of all, where is Stalin's press meets? They talk about planned press meets where the press is given, chits of questions to be asked.
And he's
Stalin
given some,
prepares and he's also got the chits, right? And he
and
answers.
if there is a confusion, then he loses it.
Because of the number, he asked, where is the 13th question? Okay, you asked me that question. He's never sat and given a press conference in a very random manner to people, right? For example, Udayanidhi, can he handle a press meet where people like us are sitting and questioning him? Can
Absolutely
he
not.
handle? No, in 5 minutes he'll just walk away. I'm damn sure about it. You give me a Karpuram camphor, I will put promise on that and say he'll walk away. He doesn't have that capability to face a press meet, nor even Stalin, not Udayanidhi. So what I've
But
seen
the
is,
women of the house seem to be more confident.
yeah, they're more confident, but they're not. And then they want to project themselves as intellectuals. So very highly incompetent offsprings, highly incapable, incompetent, subpar nepo kids, constantly making 10 people talk about their intellectuality on public forums like Darivu Trivida and boasting themselves of being intellectuals.
What intellectual
Prove. How do you
thought
prove?
process you have? The minute you are being posed with a question, you start abusing.
Huh.
Where is the question of intellectual discourse happening?
SIR abbreviation. Yes,
Yeah, I know, he doesn't.
He didn't know what is SAR. If you're gonna, they're talking about CAA, right? NRC. If you're gonna question, Udayanidhi to explain it, he would surely have
Absolutely
no idea
not.
about it. They only have pointers where they speak about certain points, but they do not have in-depth knowledge of those things. Right? For example, even if I'm going to make Udayanidhi sit and talk about the coalition and alliances DMK had from
Yeah,
60s
yeah, I
till
understand.
now, he will not have.
Pathetic.
I think, Tej Pratap Yadav in Bihar, he's really funny and he's a man saaf hai aur yahan bhi saaf hai, upar bhi. But he doesn't have PR. So I think Udayanidhi is that Tej Pratap Yadav with good PR.
I understand. But I think
At least they have the
Tej
honest.
Pratap Yadav at least has it in him
uh,
to not indulge in buffoonery.
yeah,
The
at
way
least.
these fellows are having,
Huh.
going
Huh.
and hugging the dog, and when there is a serious issue going on, women
Wrong
getting
time.
molested,
Yeah.
women getting abused,
Yeah.
the system is gone for
It's
a
called
toss.
read the room. You know what?
Yeah.
There's somebody gets raped or something happens in the society, and 2-3 days I refrain myself from posting certain things. I think no, it's my it's a collective conscious. I should not be doing it. Right? It's a responsibility. But end of the day, someone is getting raped, and this family celebrates something, and this family comes out with photos and cine reviews, and I think the whole craze about
Imagine
with cinema.
the sanitary workers, they were the
They
conservancy
were.
workers were there, sitting there on the road.
He was watching
He-
Coolie.
Yeah, the next road.
He was
And
watching
the
Coolie.
irony was the name of the movie was Coolie.
Coolie. This was
Funded-
cine crazed.
Produced by his family.
I think the chief minister of my state and his son, the deputy chief minister, have watched more movies in this,
Yeah, I
in this 1
understand.
year than any common
And
man.
reviews.
Yeah,
come out
they're
with
doing
reviews.
reviews.
I
Have you
don't
seen
understand.
any state in India? Any state
No,
in
but-
India
but-
where the
but
sea?
Tell
Yeah.
me this, you want to go for this cine attention because you want a screen presence, you want people to know you. This is one of the reasons, primary reasons, and then art, of course. There's nothing to do with art, with this family. Okay, so it is only screen presence and attention. Now you got it. You are the chief minister. Your son is the deputy chief minister. You have all the power. You have all the money. There's no need for you to work. Forget you. For your 50 generations, they don't have to work.
Yeah.
You have all the money in the
Yeah.
world, and you keep making money.
Uh.
And yet you don't have that empathy in you.
Yeah.
To just go and sit with those people who voted for you. Whereas you find it, interesting to go and sit amongst the, superstar and other glamorous stars there. You want to sit there. Whereas you don't understand that you're gifted. You don't even work for it.
Yeah.
You're gifted.
By luck.
It's just sheer luck that you are in that position. And you don't even realize that all that it takes is a little bit of empathy. That you go, those people don't expect anything. They don't expect a pie from your ill-gotten wealth. They don't expect anything of that sort.
All
They
they
just
want.
expect you to go
Yeah.
put a hand on their shoulder.
Conservancy workers told this every day when I went, they said the same thing. Why can't they come and sit with us and talk
Yeah.
to us? Are
That's
they
all they,
royalties?
that's all they expect.
Are you royalties?
That's all they
Even
expect.
royalties talk like that.
Yeah,
Why can't you talk? Right? Even Princess Diana, she went everywhere, met
Absolutely.
everybody. But who are you people? You people, you just earn money, as you said, through sheer luck. But still, even if you have money, come and talk to the people.
they're not going to take anything from you.
Yeah.
They're not going to take money from your
Yeah.
pocket. Maybe, for all you know, if you had sat with them.
But photo shoots they'll do. They'll
Yeah.
arrange people to come in that orange color
Yeah.
vest and they'll do photo
And
shoots.
the most disgusting thing I'll tell you
Mm.
is make them sit with that vest
And
and
eat.
eat.
See, I was talking to IIM Kozhikode students who were doing this project on conservancy workers. So this week I was taking a class to them. So this time I told them the most menial thing to do, for the government is giving that orange waste. Orange waste itself is making it look as, it's very menial. It's
And-
dehumanizing them. And then you go ahead, you sit with them with that orange vest. Make them sit in that
wear
vest.
that
Wear that.
and eat.
Eat.
Now, how many people will eat with that vest? In normal
Nobody
circumstances?
eats. Nobody eats with that vest. First of all, why that vest? What's the difference?
Disgusting.
Give them any other uniform.
Yeah.
It's very disgusting. And it all comes under even the breakfast scheme. That's what I spoke about. Comes under state's development scheme for these people in 2022. It includes central fund. It includes breakfast and 3 times food for them. Now only they are giving it, and that too for.
You were not giving it before.
Now only you're giving it as if you're giving it out of your benevolent nature. It's a government scheme. And then even that is not normalized or it's uniform. It's only been given to certain people. 90% are contract. They're not getting it. And everything is PR. I think nobody in this country has exploited manual scavengers or conservancy workers like the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin.
And I will tell you, I want to make that statement because I come from a very privileged community, I would say, which has not gone through the process or not gone through the rigors of being oppressed. Having said that, this is the most shameful thing that could have ever happened to this civilization, where we find the people who are doing the most important job were being regarded as untouchables. This is the worst thing that could have happened to the civilization.
See,
I tell you.
If you're calling yourself progressive, what I'm asking DMK is, what steps have you taken to end the manual scavenging? No. I take videos, everybody takes photos, we all put that photos every time. Nobody gets punished. None of the contractors in the history of Tamil Nadu have been punished
No, they're
for manual
celebrating, I'll tell
scavenging
you
death.
what, they're celebrating G.D. Naidu having invented razor blade. My question is, whether G.D. Naidu actually invented razor blade or not, that's debatable. Let's keep it aside. My question is, what have you invented all these years?
Yeah, what have you done to end manual scavenging? Why so many manual scavenging death in Tamil Nadu? See, even Biswada Wilson raises this question very often. Safai Karamsari Andolan. He raises this question of why Tamil Nadu has so much of manual scavenger deaths. Why have you not done anything? Even if a manual scavenger does it outside Arivalayam, they'll just pass by looking at him. They'll not say, oh, this man is suffering.
Absolutely.
Let me end it. Where you're talking about self-respect politics, right? Where the hell is the self-respect of a Dalit man who's doing manual scavenging work? You're supposed to reduce it, right? You have not done it yet. So I'm posing the same question to Stalin. You define what is self-respect. Because if you have self-respect, you will not make your son the next leader.
Absolutely.
And he will not make his son the next, prospect leader. He will not. You people lack self-respect. If I am a self-respect, person with self-respect, I am one with self-respect. I will not make my kid a nepo political thing. I will never do it. I'll say, can we give a chance to someone else? That's what Washington did.
Yes.
Washington conceded. He said, I'm not going to be the president forever. Let make someone the president.
Absolutely.
That's what is called democracy. People from the same caste, same family, same bloodline becoming CM is slavery.
Forget CM. They will
Yeah.
hold the party as a private property.
Yeah, and he's saying ADMK slaves. No, your party men are slaves. Give them some knowledge. They are like bonded laborers. They are bound to you, not by force but by manipulation. You have manipulated in such a way that they don't even see the truth of this. Someone saying, oh, I want to become, one day I want to become the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, but by being in DMK. Nobody has that aspiration except for Karunanidhi's family. That's very wrong. So these kind of things have to be discussed. These perspectives.
Absolutely.
We have to analyze political parties, right? These see, they'll ask, well, why you're not questioning ADMK or BJP? ADMK,
No, we'll ask everybody.
We'll ask everybody.
We'll
but,
ask everybody.
but ADMK never call themselves, forerunners of, front runners of social justice. But silently they'll be doing
They've
things.
been doing that.
From making Dhanapal speaker, right? From making Satyavani Muthu union leader, to sending Saroja to parliament, they have been doing work very silently. Only thing is,
Diligently they have been
they
doing
don't do PR
They don't.
because they don't. I think they don't consider it as a benevolent act.
It's part of your, it's part of your functioning.
Yeah, it is like this person is worked. Let us give him representation.
Absolutely.
It is by default. DMK sits and like, okay, I am going to give an award to a Dalit person. Now let me make a PR out of it, a spectacle out of it. Because I belong to what? Rajaraja Sola. What the hell is calling yourself Rajaraja Sola and Rajendra Sola? How does it matter to me in a democracy? Dude, Mannarachi or the whole royal thing has been put to an end by democracy. It's a republic right now. No, ellaru mannargal, right? Ellaru mannargal. Everybody is.
That is what Anna's statement was.
That's what MGR said.
We are all kings.
We are all kings. Suddenly you're saying, I am Rajaraja Solan, my son is Rajendra Solan. Why are you pulling us back? Where are you taking it? I think the Gen Z or the Gen Alpha are going to be concerned about the Solans. They're not going to be considered.
No, in fact, the whole society being distorted with this Cholas.
Yeah.
I find this. I find this little. I've been curious. Why are you so obsessed?
Because Karnataka,
there were so many kings.
They are so smitten by Cholas. They have a connection with Cholas. That's the reason they are so smitten by them. I don't want to get into deeper things. But they always, wear that flower greetings, they have that val. The Dravidian politics is all about theatrics, right? The Dravidian politics is all about claiming themselves to be Rajas. But I think they hate democracy in the first place. They like the voting thing, but they don't like democracy or republic.
The voting thing is to empower them to make money.
That's why they don't adore Ambedkar also. Because they are not that into democracy. They want royal lineage to continue, and that's why they're calling themselves as kings. Will anybody call someone as a king in America? They will not do it. Even the royalty in UK.
Trump was, in fact, the protest was that Trump was behaving like a king. He shouldn't be doing that. That was why we had a protest.
Yeah. But these people are like, they don't have no shame that people will be making fun of you, that you're calling yourself Rajaraja Solan. What the hell is happening?
I mean, people have voted you to be their, to be their
representative.
Chief administrator.
Not the king.
You are doing everything other than that.
Yeah. Somebody has to put that question, like why people are even normalizing or are accepting they themselves, comparing themselves with a royal lineage. That should be questioned actually. So I think we have to question that a lot.
No, we will do that, ma'am. We will do more of that in the coming days, and it was so nice having you in the studio. Thanks once again, because every time you come, a lot of insights. I always keep saying this, that whenever I listen to her, whenever she makes a stage, a speech or whatever, she gives a speech on the stage or whatever, I know that she's going to give me a lot of insights. So it gives me the inputs that you give me. Then I go read about it. I go do a lot of references. So I think the audience will also today be benefited by that.
We need to give a lot of history out there because the solution from today's problems is in the history.
Yes, absolutely.
So knowing the right history matters. That's why Dalits especially should know their history, because there is a pattern being repeated. Today we spoke about Satyavani Muthu. It's a pattern.
It's happening even now.
To all Dalits.
See, the conservancy woman worker.
Or all Satyavani Muthus.
All Satyavani Muthus were ill-treated back then.
Yes.
It continues.
So you see the pattern. So to study the pattern, we need to talk about history and the present situation.
We will do that, ma'am, in the coming series. And I will be disturbing you quite often.
Thanks, Kishore. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.